Hello, it is Christine Michelle, and I am doing a live to talk about going beyond the beyond. And what I mean about going beyond, it means going big. Like, what would it feel like for June to be your biggest month ever? And when I say biggest month, I don't just mean biggest month financially. I mean biggest and best month in your life, in your relationship, in your health, in your wealth, like in all the areas. Like, what would it feel like for June to be your biggest financial month, which means your biggest financial month ever, right? So a month that could equal a year. Like, what would that feel like? I'm super excited to just announce that we are doing the Beyond challenge. It is the Beyond, go beyond your edge. And it's about going big, going for it, going for the gold. And when you go for the gold, that means that you are doing it like an athlete, a professional athlete. What does that look like? So when we think about professional athletes, we have the Olympics that's coming, and there are people that will train and they will train and they will train for this one experience. They don't care if things are like, not looking right. They don't care if they have an injury. They are going to treat that injury and they are going to keep going and keep showing up for themselves. And I had a conversation recently with my sister, and it was like, am I going all out? Like, am I really going for it? And recently I was talking to my mentor and I asked her, I said, well, what would it look like? And she answered the question of what would she be doing if this was like, if she was first starting, right? Like, what would she be doing? And it's not that I first started, but that energy of the first start, like you don't know anything, you're not comparing yourself, you have no idea what you're meant to do, but you're just going for it. That's the energy that we're bringing. And so for her, she was like, I'd be going live every day. I'd be on podcasts all the time. She's like, I would be sharing everything. She's like, I would be posting every day. Like, she's like, I would be going all out, right? And there's this narrative now. There's this narrative where when you work hard, all of a sudden that's a bad thing. Like, for you to go for it, for you to like put yourself out there, for you to do it up, do the most. There's this narrative that if it didn't come easy, it's not worth it now. And there needs to be balance. Now, I'm not saying that we need to like work all hard and like stress ourselves out and do all of that in order to receive. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is that there is another level. There is another level for you to reach. And in order to reach that next level, in order to expand your capacity to hold space at that level, you've got to push yourself beyond where you are. Let me give you some examples. So, in the beginning, right? Maybe it was like really challenging for you to have 20 people inside of your container, right? But you needed to do it. You needed to have the 20 so that you could create space for the 100. And maybe there was a time when you had 100 people in your container and you were like, oh my goodness, this feels like such a stretch. But then once you did it, you stretched your capacity and now it's easy. All of those times you could have felt, oh, I'm really feeling out of source, or my nervous system isn't in alignment. So, that means that I'm not supposed to do it. And that's not the case. Your nervous system is, you get to regulate it as you enter into this, as you stretch your capacity, as you stretch into it. Are you picking up what I'm putting down? Okay. And so what you get to do is, a lot of times, like for example, when I used to work in corporate, I worked 40, 50, 60, 70 hours in a week. And that was for someone else. I showed up, I stayed until the job was done, I finished, right? Then when you work for yourself, because you're your own boss, of course, I'm not going to work 70 hours a week. That is just not in the cards. I do not want that anymore. But if I think about it, I got used to, facilitating client calls, and I only have a few clients, and I only do it on 2 days a week. And that means that I have, maybe 2 hours here, 2 hours there. And then I have my mastermind call, I have my quantum queen call, and then maybe there's something for the Be Collective. So that's 3 to 6 hours of calls in that week. But that's not every week. And so when I calculated it out, I was like, okay, I'm probably working on average like 9 hours a week. In addition to creating my content, emailing my audience, I create content and email my audience every single day. I said, well, how much more could I do? Right? How much more? Hello, Jessica. How much more could I do? How much more could I push myself beyond the edge of where I was? And what would that look like? And so a lot of you are phoning it in. You're like doing what you can do to scrape on by, but you're not pushing yourself beyond your edge. I want to ask you, are you doing something scary, terrifying, something that really challenges you every single day? Or are you in autopilot mode and just doing what you've been doing every single day? Because you're asking for these bigger manifestations, you're asking for a bigger audience, you're asking to be known, but you're not pushing yourself beyond the edge. We see Jessica, I see Viv. You're not pushing yourself beyond the edge. So I want to ask you, are you phoning it in? Do you guys know what phoning it in means? If you don't know what phoning it in means, put some ones in the comments. Phoning it in means that like you are doing the least, but then asking for the most. Right? You're like barely doing it. You're like, okay, I'm gonna go live, but hey, if it's past 10 minutes, I'm tired. Or I'm gonna write my content, but oh my goodness, it took me like 30 minutes to an hour to write it. I'm so tired. Like, what are you phoning it in? Or are you going for it? Are you going for the gold? Are you going for the win? Are you going for it? When you first start your business, that's when you're in go for it mode. You're in like, I'm doing this. I'm so excited. This is so amazing, right? You're feeling good about what you're doing. Yes. Jessica says, yes, I understand what phoning it in means. Yes. And so, but when you start to look at other people, right? When we start to compare ourselves, when we start to get out of what is powerful for us and what feels like, oh my goodness, so aligned for us, when we get out of that mode, then we start to phone it in a little bit, or we get a little comfortable. We had a little bit of success. Maybe this thing went viral or it felt good. So I'm just going to keep doing that same thing. And you don't push yourself beyond the edge. So that is why I am starting the Beyond the Beyond podcast challenge. And I'm going to give a lot more details. I did a recording on the podcast and I'm telling you how to do it. Those of you who are legends, Jessica is a legend. Those of you who are legends, we are going to talk about this on a daily basis. There's not going to be anything for you to listen to or you have to do, but I'm going to challenge you to say, okay, what is something that I love to do? Something that I know, something that feels good in my heart, and how am I going to go for it and go for it and go beyond the edge? And then in Quantum Queen, we're going to have some voice notes. I'm going to leave some voice notes periodically through the week so that you can really decide, this is what I'm doing, this is how I'm showing up, and this is what it looks like, and go for it. I want you to feel like you're going for the gold, like going for the championship, going for the World Series win, going for the trophy. Because when you decide that I'm going for this, then you just go all out. You're not using any excuses. If you feel tired, take a nap, then get up and go for it. If you feel like, okay, I don't know what to say, connect with your audience and then go for it. Like, I really am challenging you to step outside of the phoning it in zone. Let me give you an example. Have any of you done weight training or done any kind of like exercises? Even if it's cardio, it doesn't matter. Have you done any kind of exercises in your life? And I know you're saying yes. So when I think of what it looks like, let's say you start off with the 1 pound weight, right? And you do it until exhaustion, right? when you get and you feel like you're exhausted, you feel like you can't go any further, guess what you can do? You probably have 10 or 12 more reps in that. Exhaustion means that you cannot lift it up. Your hands are shaking, and then you have to let the weight down because it is so like you've done it. You've exhausted that muscle. And then what happens? 2 days later, you come back, that other weight is so light, you've got to go up 2 pounds because then you can like do that other weight past exhaustion so easily. Why? Because you expanded and you allowed yourself to push yourself beyond. And I do somatic work. I'm all about nervous system regulation. You guys know that. And I believe that we have used it as an excuse in this industry to stop ourselves, especially as women, from going beyond our edges. We've used it as an excuse. Oh, I'm feeling a little nervous, or I'm feeling a little antsy. That means my nervous system isn't regulated. Let me go back and try to feel like a dead fish. You're going into starfish mode. No, that's not what the nervous system is telling you. It is just letting you know that, oh, it's time for us to expand into this. It's time for us to expand into this. And so what that means is that you get to regulate as you're going. You don't have to feel so calm every time. Like you can feel excited. You can feel nervous. You can feel those things. What it is nervous system regulation means that you don't want to feel that all day, every minute, like, all chaotic. You get to bring yourself back to calm, yes, but don't use that as an excuse not to move. How many of you are using that as an excuse sometimes? How many of you are saying, my nervous system isn't regulated. I'm not. Just because you're being pushed outside your comfort zone, just because it feels a little scary, just because it feels a little bit like, oh, no. What if I told you your nervous system is already ready for you to expand? When you have this desire, like for example, I talk about $10 million me. I talk about having thousands of people in my programs. I talk about that. My nervous system is already acclimating to what that feels like. And so I did an exercise and I joined a space that had thousands of people in it so that I could imagine what that felt like and be in the energy of what it feels like to have thousands of people and hundreds of customer service requests and all of that. What does that look like? And I decided to put myself in the space for that so that I could regulate and so that I could see how it is and so that I could adjust. Okay? Yeah, Jessica says, this is so fire. I'm going to be back to watch the replay. It will be here. So what would it feel like if you decided that when your nervous system is expanding, to give it the space to expand into where you want to go? What if you knew that, okay, I decided that I get to have, thousands and thousands of people in my space. And then as, 20 or 30 people come and then you get all the questions and then you're like, oh my goodness, I don't know what to do. Instead of giving up, instead of allowing yourself to go into emotional turmoil, you decide in that moment to be like, I got this. I'm capable of this. It wouldn't be here if I wasn't capable. Let me take a deep breath and say, now what? That is where you win. When you take the deep breath and you go, now what? Now what? When you go and collapse and then you do all of that, guess what? Now you've got to have it happen again so that you can decide that I am capable of this. I am capable of holding space. I'm going to expand into this. I'm going to tap my thymus muscle and I'm going to be like, okay, what do I do now? What is my choice now? What does $10 million me do now? What does the expanded version of me choose now? What is my next step in this? That is what nervous system regulation looks like. Not going to stop and just being like, I can't handle it. Not giving up. Not deciding that you can't handle it, because you can. You wouldn't have this desire if you couldn't. Are you picking up what I'm putting down? And so June, this month, whatever month you're listening to this or watching this, make this your I'm going for it month. Make this your committed for 30 days to go for it, to decide that there's nothing you can't do, to decide that you're going to say, I'm going to watch me go, watch me do this, watch me take the steps, watch me, so that when you look back at this last 30 days, you'll be like, oh my God, look at how I could do this. Because I guarantee there are places where you're phoning it in. And this isn't about only business. This is about your whole life. Are you moving your body? Are you taking walks? Are you listening to your body and eating the delicious food that feels good for you? Are you feel like doing your inner work? And are you deciding that you get to be happy regardless of the outcome? This go for it challenge, this beyond the beyond challenge is really for you to step up and decide that you get to have whatever you desire, whenever you desire, and you are going to be the one that's going to make it happen. You are going to be the one that's going to go for it. You are going to be the one that's going to do the work. You are going to be the one that's going to challenge yourself, because I guarantee anything you're desiring that is expanded, anything that you're desiring is beyond where you are right now. It is going to be a challenge. You're going to have some challenges. You're going to have some aches. You're going to have some discomfort. And you need to go through that in order for you to allow yourself to receive it. Are you picking up what I'm putting down? What does that look like? That looks like using the weights until it feels like it's exhausting. And then you get to say, I can do more. I can do a few more. I can do a few more. Because your brain is the one that tells you you're tired. Your brain is the one that tells you you're tired. It tells you all the things. Right? But it's delayed. It's actually doing it too early. It's telling you that you're tired and you need to stop and you need to slow down. It's telling you that before you're actually tired, before you're actually really, really at the point of exhaustion. And so a lot of you have been playing this game of like, I'm giving you my all. I'm going all for it. And you're not. You're not. You're not. You're phoning it in. And this is all about going beyond the beyond and stop phoning it in. The go big. And so what I did is I'm creating a podcast challenge. They're going to be daily podcasts. A lot of them are just going to be about motivating you, letting you defy the odds, showing you the different ways that you get to go. And with this challenge, I'm challenging myself to be even more visible. I'm challenging myself to do more live streams. I'm challenging myself to show up, to show up, to show up, to show up. That's what I'm doing. And so what I want you to do is decide, am I phoning it in? Am I just doing, just enough? Because just enough isn't what's going to get you to that big goal, to where you want to go. That's why you get to go beyond the beyond. That's why you get to smack your own ass and be like, let's go. That's where you get to say, you know what? If I wanted this month financially to be equal to my biggest year, how would I show up? How would I show up to my audience? How would I speak to them? What kind of confidence would I have? What kind of conviction would I have about what gets to happen in my spaces? How am I going to lead myself through this? And so in the beyond, go big, challenge. You are every single day, you are going to challenge yourself to do something that is stretchy, to do something that maybe you're afraid of, to do something that is beyond what you've been doing. And I know that is scary, but that is what's required for that next level. And in order for you to move out of this range, like you're in this box. Have you guys watched Dark Matter? If you guys have watched Dark Matter on Apple, it is so good. It got really good on episode 4. The first couple episodes was a little slow, but start with episode 4. Get to episode 4 and then the rest of them are good. But what it is like there's a box, right? It's the quantum box. You're in that box, and whatever your thoughts or your subconscious is thinking when you open the door, that is the life you're living. What if you knew that that's the way we're living right now? And you get to decide how you show up. And so right now you're in the box and you're just doing what you've been doing, right? You're just doing the normal course of business. And that's why every single day you have looks the same, because you're living it the same. You're doing the same things. You're not challenging yourself. You're not going bigger. You're not deciding you get to experience things bigger. You're not being your most expanded self. That's okay, but you're having the same life. But you know you're listening to this live stream because you know you want to go big. You know you want to make $10,000 months into $10,000 days. You know that you want to make $100,000 months and $100,000 weeks. You know that that's what you want. You know that you want to impact. You want 3,000 people. Like if you have 3,000 people in your container, you want 3,000 people, just in I don't know, in your space, like in your new container, right? You just know that there are things that you want to expand into, but you are doing the things differently. You're repeating the same thing over and over and over again, and you're mad because you're getting the same results over and over and over again. That's where this beyond, the Go Big challenge comes in. I'm challenging each and every one of you to go beyond. Go beyond where you have been going. So I'll give you an example. So for me, I post every single day. I do an email every single day. And I have my clients that I support in the Telegram, like those type of things. And so what I'm doing is I'm going beyond to support my Legend Mastermind ladies. I'm going to go beyond supporting them, where they're going to have calls this month, and we've added some more calls because I'm going to be there to support them. I've added more support. We're going to do daily little voice notes in the Quantum Queen. We're going to talk to them about where they are and pushing them beyond that, right? So there's ways that I'm going to increase the way my service levels and how I'm serving them. In the Be Collective, we have a call, we have our other thing, and then every week they're going to have the live stream that's happening on Thursday, and I'm going to go beyond to support them there. And so I'm going beyond with the way that I support. That's number one. Number two, I'm doing a podcast every single day. We have about 12 of them already recorded, pre-recorded, or whatever, ready to go. And there's going to be a podcast every single day because I decided beyond the beyond. And for me, $10 million me or $1 billion me or whoever she is, she's showing up every single day in something. And so she's expanding where she is in the podcast, right? So in addition to that, I'm also challenging the people that are doing the podcast challenge to share the podcast, and then they also get to have something recorded for them. The more that they share, they can even come on live, and then I'm going to have a live coaching session for them. I'm inviting my Legend and the Quantum Queens and the Be Collectives ladies to come on to the podcast so that I can do live coaching sessions with them, and so that they can share whatever they've got to share. Like, I'm really making this like going beyond, bigger, more on more. So do you see how like I'm pushing myself beyond what I normally do, because I'm stretching my capacity to be able to hold space for thousands of people in my containers, to hold space for hundreds of people in Quantum Queen, to hold space for millions of people watching live streams or YouTubes or, all of those things. I'm stretching my capacity. And you get to stretch your capacity. You want more, but you are allowing yourself to stretch your muscles, or let your muscles stretch so that they can hold more. And anytime you feel discomfort, you run. Or anytime you feel discomfort, you say it's not aligned, and then you stop, when actually that discomfort was just the stretch. And the way you decide to look at it is how it stretches and how it becomes acclimated and how it just becomes your new trajectory and the new thing that you get to hold. And so that's what I'm going to be sharing every single day to my community. And that's some of the things you're going to be learning on the podcast. So if you want to be a part of the Beyond, Go Big podcast challenge, I want you to go and listen to my podcast. It's called the Woo and the Do podcast. The link is in my links. I think you have my link in my bio. If not, you'll see it in my stories in a few moments. But go big, go beyond the beyond. I want you to push yourself. I want you to let June be the month that you show yourself what you can do. You're going for the gold, going for the win, going for the biggest of the biggest transformations. And you're not going to let anyone else's thoughts or ideas about you moving, you being seen, you being heard, all of that. You're not going to let anyone else, his ideas, stop you. So, who's going to join the Go Beyond, Beyond the Beyond the podcast challenge, because this is going to change your world. And if you want more support, you can join the Quantum Queen. You can enjoy the Be Collective, because this is where we're going to go even deeper, and I'm going to be pushing you even more out of the nest so that you fly on your own, and so that you decide that you get to have the success of your dreams. So everybody, that's all about it. I can't wait to see your comments. It's about going beyond the beyond. Go big. Go for the gold. Remember that it is me. I am the one who decides what I get to have. And I get to push myself beyond like feeling uncomfortable, beyond that little bit of uncomfort, discomfort. What do I say? I'm going to leave this with the 3 things. What are the 3 things that you do in order to quantum leap? Let go of control, let go of common sense, because you're going to be doing some things that don't make any sense, and let go of what else? Comfort. And when you are trying to stay comfortable, when you're trying to stay safe, you aren't allowing yourself to quantum leap. You aren't allowing yourself to go big. You aren't allowing yourself to go into the things that you desire. Let's see. Hello. Yeah, let's see. Beyond the beyond. I love it. Yes. And in the Be Collective, Jennifer, you're going to see in the Be Collective what we're going to talk about on Wednesday. We're going to talk about this going beyond the beyond and pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone, and what that looks like, and what challenges, like what are some of the things that you can challenge yourself to do that is going to feel so uncomfortable, that is going to feel like, oh my goodness, am I doing all this work? It's going to feel so like, oh my God. And what you used to think wasn't alignment, you're going to realize it's not that it's not aligned. It's just your muscles and your capacity stretching to hold space for it. And so we're going to really focus on pushing you out of the nest and letting yourself trust, and doing it in a way that's in alignment with what's fun for you, what's joyful for you, and then letting you commit to showing up for yourself. And so we're going to have fun and do that. Okay, so those of you who want to hear more about the Go Beyond, the Beyond the Beyond, Go Big podcast challenge, go listen to my podcast. And I can't wait to talk to you more over the course of this month. Go big. You got this. Bye.